Come get your money. Paylake Carp fishing with Donald Barrow. Hello, this is Donald Barrow. Come get your money. Paylake Carp fishing. I hear some guys were saying that at Carlton's last week, and I was like, that is cool. I met a lot of cool people out there, and I won last week at Ellis, so I'm on a roll. So what could be worse or better? I got a new banner behind me. That's the best. Thank you, Rod. I really appreciate that. This one I'm going to make a real good bait recipe. Been saving it, and then I got talking to one of my subscribers, and he was telling me he was going through some rough times. He fishes out of Curry's carp pond. That's about an hour away from here. And if I'm honest, it's not, usually on my stops I would plan to hit it, but between Curry's and where I live in Winston-Salem, Clemens, I've got at least a dozen ponds, that I can hit. So it's hard, to drive an hour. If I drive an hour, usually I'm going to Creekside or Roy's. But I'm going out there because this guy is a really nice guy. He had been disabled in an auto accident, and now he's fighting the Big C. And I didn't clear his name, and I'll just say that he asked me to make him some flavors or make him some bait, and I would he'd pay me. And I was like, I don't want any money. I'm coming out there, brother. The carp community does that, and I've seen Chris Southern do it. I know Joe Lutz has done it, and I'm not going to say any more names because every week there's somebody doing something, a carp pond, and pretty much there are no bad people as far as owners in my book. They've all treated me like gold, and they very it's really like a family thing. Some of these carp ponds guys have been coming out for, they're on their third or fourth generation. So I'm not going to get all crazy here, but I just wanted to say I'm more than proud to help this guy out. We're going to start with 28 ounces of oats. Old fashioned, or I said 28, but 42, 42. 2 pounds, 10 ounces, 42 ounces. Standard big boy size. They make one size bigger. You won't find them in a normal grocery store, but there are some grocery stores that carry the extra big too. I had some last year I'm not sure, I got them in a pond or something, but I want to say they were like 70, 72 ounces, but 42 is a standard recipe size. I'm going to be doing something different this weekend, and normally I'd be doing a what's in the bucket, but what's in the bucket's going to be probably made at the lake, because both my recipes are make at the lake recipes. I'm not big on make at the lake recipes, but I'm pre-making this tonight, but I've got uses for it tomorrow night. So it's Thursday, and why I say this is special is I've held out this flavor. The first time I saw it, it's Wicked Crush. Yeah, Wicked Crush, C-R-U-S-C. I could be wrong. I think it's Crush or Cruise. I don't know. It's orange, and the first time I ever saw it used, it was the owner of Wicked, and he was fishing in a high dollar, 48 hour, 72 hour, I don't know how many hours it was. It was all weekend at Pops, the spring sold out carp tournament they have. Very popular, and all I could think of is, he saved that for I hope he doesn't get mad at me telling it. Not everybody tells you the flavors they're using, but he was using this. I'll tell you that right now. And I was like, yeah, mental check. I'm throwing in 4 caps. I saw Ron pour it in, and he just poured it in. He did it by eye, but I can't do anything by eye. It's 4 caps, and I'm very proud of this flavor. You can't see it. I got about a quarter left in this bottle, and normally I wouldn't be upset, worried too much, but I understand it's sold out in North Carolina, so this is no surprise. This is White Zombie. So a lot of people think it's super hot. It doesn't smell like your super hot formula. It's got a great backing, and I'm not going to swear to anything else because I just don't know, but I just know it works. So I've got 2 flavors that work. But normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm counting on the heat to help me out here a little bit. I can tell you the orange smells like tangerine. If I was, it's a tangerine type flavor. And I've been waiting. I've been with mental note to say, when you want to try something cool, and I saw them catch fish with it, so, they were at one point, they were up there. I don't know if they were leading, but I think they were second when I saw them. I went and hung out with them on the Sunday morning, and I'm not sure where they finished. I know Joe Lutz was catching fish, and guy in Pennsylvania, sorry man, I forgot your name. I'll remember it. He's a good guy. They were right up there, but I like I said, I made a note that when I get this flavor, and I've had it for a while, that I was going to save it for something special, and I was going to save it for myself, but I found a better use for it. So here we go. I'm going to pour this in and start to mix it. If I'm honest, this is like I think this is about my 4th tape. I don't know what I was thinking. It's 8 o'clock, and I've had 2 phone calls, and it's on silent because it only took me 2 times, and then I've been interrupted by family members on stuff. I guess I need one of those lights that says recording or silence. I don't know, but there's not going to be a lot to this bait. You saw me. I put 42 ounces of old-fashioned oats. A lot of times I will throw in Jello. 6 ounces of Jello, 3 ounces of Jello. I'm not using Jello. I've debated on that, but I don't want it messing with the flavor. And the last time I made oats, they had a little issue with breaking down. I had to add some. I was at the lake and I preached this, but I broke my own rule. I didn't have wheat germs, but I did have quick grits. Well, my partner did, and I loaded the oats up with quick grits, and then they broke, and then they worked great. Just a lesson that I keep talking about, and I got to learn it myself, is always to have a breaker handy. Quick grits, quick oats. I'm not a big fan of quick oats, but they work. But you can't beat quick grits and wheat bran. I like to get the wheat bran in ahead of time, and then if I'm in an emergency situation, where I call it emergency situation, if I'm having issues at the lake, quick grits is my solution. It's easy to measure out. For me it is. And, you just grab a bucket of pond water and start packing balls till you get, that 3-minute break, or better. I like it better, but some guys don't, so the preference. I'm going to stir this up more behind the scenes. I'm going to make this real long. I did want to say I got some more hooks in from mud pigs and carp and wicketed, and I got to be frank, I didn't use them because last week because they were still in good shape. These hooks last, and like I said, I think I'm going to do a video on that and show what I look for. It's no secret I look for the barb being wore down, or any kind of bend, or any extra wear where it should be sharp. And a carp hook doesn't have to be sharp like, say, a bass hook. In fact, I always vote for not being super sharp because I don't want, like this weekend I had a buffalo that went back and forth between the sets, and that can cause issues because you're just opening up the hole, and if you've got a super sharp hook, cause you more issues. Last thing, and honestly I debated using this when I first saw it because I said, nah, this isn't for me. But I've got this wicked, I can show you, gun case where I carry a big Magnum pistol. No, guys, I'm carrying, and you think this is like a beeper case, but this one's even better than a beeper case. But what it's designed for is flavors. And you're like, why in the heck do I need something to hold flavors? You know, that's crazy talk, Donald. You know, why would you do that? And I tell you why. Lately I've been dipping, and I dip and I spray, and I always take flavors to the lake, and I never have the one I want. I have a tote. I used to carry around in totes, but the problem with carrying around with totes, you got to really fill it and stuff it, because if the bottles start banging around, ultimately one will be loose and it will spill over everything and make a mess. And I can't tell you how many times that I've lost flavor over the years, where one of the bottles, in the middle of the night I needed it, I made bait and I didn't screw the lid on tight, or I cross-threaded the lid, and next thing you know, it just made, I lose half a bottle. I dumped a half a bottle of Sinful Grape last year when it was impossible to get. And I wasn't going to call Ron and tell him, I dumped, send me more, but it really, I use Sunkist grape, Wicketed Sunkist grape. I bought a bottle of that, and it was very good. It worked, but it wasn't Wicketed Sinful Grape. So live and learn. So this may seem like overkill, but especially if you're like on the Elite Series, or the CCC, or definitely the high rollers, those guys fish once a month. They come from all over the place, down from Pennsylvania, Indianapolis, Indiana, all over. And the last thing you want is flavor bottles floating around. Now these guys also come to fish a weekend, and I know for a fact, you go to your first lake, they don't fish the same lake usually 3 times. They like to fish around, and they find out strawberries the flavor, and either they're buying a bottle or and mad because they've got 5 bottles at home of the flavor they need. So this ain't for everybody. This is definitely not a new person's equipment, unless you want the very best. But if you want the very best, talk to Ron about a case like this. I don't know if he has it on his webpage. I kind of doubt it yet, but it's very cool. And like I said, in a million years, I'd never thought I'd be saying, "Oh, this is what you need." But now it goes with me, and I don't have them because they're downstairs. But I also be loading. I'm using a lot of dips, and I'm using a lot of the spray bottles. And fairness, last year I had maybe 2 bottles of the spray, and I used it every once in a while. And actually, I was using it kind of at the end of the night. It's crapped out for me. I'm not catching anything. Spray a ball. I recall one time it worked, but not always. When I made the black pack, I so wanted it to work. I was like trying to will it to work because I put so much into it. And I threw it out there and I wasn't getting the action. So I went for the second time and I was like, I'm just going to put it away, let it sit for a couple of weeks, maybe it'll get better. But when I threw it out there, I sprayed a couple of the balls and it lit that stuff up. There wasn't flavor into my black pack. The only flavor is molasses. And I can tell you now I understand what they were saying about 2 or 3 weeks, because now you can smell it, that heavy molasses flavor, where when I made it fresh, it didn't have that flavoring, you know. So I'm excited to use it more, but I'm going to be excited for these orange oats. If they work, I'll give the guy the bottle and you can buy my own bottle. But this is for a good cause, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Like and subscribe if you would. I thank you. Thank you, Ron, for the banner. That's really cool. Mud pigs and pig flippers are some of my other sponsors, guys, and they, you know, it's not really a sponsorship. They just help me out. They ask for advice on stuff, or you know, pig flippers doesn't really need me. He can't sell enough of his stuff, but that's Dustin. But he's a great guy, and so is Thomas Bailey over at Mud Pigs. So I'm just proud to have him as friends, and I can't thank Ron enough over at Wicked. My goal is to say Wicked all night long and not screw up. So far, so good. Thank you, guys. Like and subscribe. Peace out.